Question is, would it be better if ethnicity was shared? Now, I'm going to go to you, Angela. Just to be clear, there's no law about it. I checked this before we were going to be talking about this morning. How it works is that the College of Policing that governs pretty much what all the chief inspectors do, so the rules governing all of the local and regional police forces, it's up to them when they arrest somebody, whether they release the immigration status of a suspect. What do you think? Should they, shouldn't they?
Well, first of all, I think we need to have joined-up policing, and I think it shouldn't be case by case or constabulary by constabulary. Either there is a protocol or there isn't. I think possibly they should, but they have to do it absolutely across the board for everything, for even, you know, minor crime, whatever it is. I mean, we've seen the problem when people suspect that there
but why, Angela?
Well, I'm just about to tell you, respectfully, because if people come from a certain ethnicity, unfortunately, there are knuckleheads in this country who will join at the dots, cause rioting, cause terrible community tensions. But equally, you know, if there is a vacuum, then that also leads to people
saying the absence of information, like in Southport, people fill in the gaps and they make 2 + 2 and they end up making 5.
And also, it is journalistically, how often you open a newspaper, for those that still physically hold the things, please still buy them, it will say 44-year-old accountant has been charged with blah. And even though the fact that he's an accountant or a shoemaker or a gardener has nothing to do with it, it's a kind of a biographical detail.
Radzi asked an important question, which is the why. What are you getting at there, Radzi?
What I'm getting at is the fact that I think this has been stirred up from the right wing, specifically Nigel Farage, for reasons of obfuscation, for reasons of support. And if we look at, say, America, for example, whenever there's a mass shooting, if it's a black or brown person, they'll say it's a terrorist attack. And when it's a white person, they'll say it's mental illness. We get absolutely nothing by finding out what their ethnicity is, nothing by finding out what their religion is. And so for me, I just think, what is the fundamental point? If it helped something penally, if it helped it legally, I'm all for it. But I think
in response to that, in the American case, some people might argue back at you, when there's black on black violence or people of colour who kill each other, that's never reported. And you're more likely to be killed statistically by a police officer if you're white in America. But when a police officer unlawfully, sometimes wickedly, kills a person of colour in America, that is reported. So, some people would argue that reporting of ethnicity doesn't just work both ways, but is also highly politicised in favour of that sort of activism.
I'd say within the specific of America, we've got big issues about essentially the NRA and gun possession and what's the purpose of having gun possession. And it goes obviously back to the independence. And so sort of without getting caught down that track is, for me, the fundamental issue comes back to the right leading the narrative. And in this particular case, I think the right are very much wrong. And I hate the direction of travel. I hate where it's going. On a personal level, my dad came to this country from Zimbabwe for the same reasons. He may have been a person coming on the boats, and he was all my dad did. He never had a single day off. Right. And obviously, you're not going to say something bad about my dad. I appreciate that. But the stories of immigrants are never told. It's their people on boats, they're condemned, and we talk about them being in hotels, and I think it does a total disservice to humanity.
You would argue it distorts the narrative. Well, after the break, we'll be focusing on a number of those immigrants who came to this country and ended up becoming, for example, GPs. And